face with Tchaikovsky, or at least the crew profile and assessment record of that name. While extreme technical expertise was a given with all crew, he was interested to see the results of his personality assessments. There were two main poles for a multi-decade mission like this, and they pulled in opposite directions. One related to how well a crew member could cope working in isolation for long periods of time, and how they might tolerate being severed from the great mass of humanity and the course of human history. He aced that one. The other related to working in close confinement alongside other human beings you simply could not escape from, and he was dismayed to see how close he had come to rejection on that ground alone. Tchaikovsky felt himself an affable, outgoing man. From the age of 9, he had been working on constructing pseudo-intelligences to have conversations with, and hadn't he, more than anyone else in the crew, surrounded himself with pets back home? What better indication of a warm and loving human nature was there? He'd owned 19 aquariums, 3 large enough to dive in. Many of the aquatic denizens were like close personal friends to him. How could anyone think him antisocial, let alone make all those unfair and hurtful comments? He was being tongue-in-cheek, of course. They meant human friends, and that had never been his strong suit. Still, he had a few, and he worked well in a task-focused environment where everyone was fixed on a common goal. And when it came to R&R, well, if he wasn't the life and soul of the party, at least he didn't step on anybody else's toes. And there was, in his humble opinion, not a human being alive who enjoyed jokes more than he did. It was just that nobody else found his funny. Anyway, his general social inoffensiveness was just sufficient, when added to his undeniable competence, to get him on the crew. And then some combination of evaluations and computer subroutines kicked him up to be head of the terraforming team, one below overall command, because if you had a slightly deranged genius on the team, it was probably better to let him cox than row. That was the actual comment of the psychologist who recommended the promotion, and Tchaikovsky, having got into that file as well, treasured the perceived compliment. But they needed him awake now. In that unreal ocean he strained, but the touch of the tentacle never quite reached his finger, and all his pets were long dead and gone, on an Earth more than 30 light-years away. Tchaikovsky opened his eyes, aware that his beatific smile had crossed over from his dream and was still on his face. He felt refreshed and ready to start his day. A quick interrogation of the ship's systems assured him they had arrived, their long, cold journey done, the deceleration over. He sat up, stretching, more for the form of it than from any need, but he was used to doing all sorts of things because people do them, as a sop to the sensibilities of his fellows. He was neither alone in his sleeping compartment, nor surrounded by the bustle of a woken crew. Instead, his performance had an audience of one. Yusuf Baltil, overall command. "Boss," Tchaikovsky acknowledged. The lack of context to Baltil watching him wake was disconcerting. Tchaikovsky liked to have a handle on cause and effect, and was usually smart enough to avoid surprises. He queried the ship again and found a weight of data embargoed, blocked from him, blocked from everyone except Baltil himself. That's not good. "I need a second opinion," Baltil told him. "Let me guess, the planet's not there?" It had been the joke with the very first exoprobes. Sometimes the data said there was an Earth-type planet, but the indicators were just a bunch of other factors conspiring to give that impression. Of course, a probe had actually been shot out here, accelerating far faster than a manned ship could manage, checked that an actual terraformable planet was present, and reported back. They wouldn't just send a manned mission off on a whim now, would they? Tchaikovsky really didn't want to have to turn around and go home. "There's a planet." Only now did Tchaikovsky notice the curious tension to Baltil, a man generally in complete command of himself. He was practically vibrating like a plucked string. "There's a planet," he repeated, "but there's a problem. I'm keeping it hush for now, but it's too big for me to make the call. I'll need you to see." Because of the embargo, which Tchaikovsky felt was a childish way to go about things, they actually had to walk to overall command to see the thing Baltil was so agitated about. Everyone else was still peacefully on ice. Who, then, was all this cloak?